The creative industries stand at a defining moment, shaped by the rise of AI, new approaches to education, and the ever-accelerating pace of technology. To stay ahead, the UK must champion bold thinking, fresh models, and, at times, dangerous ideas. Recently, at Here East in London's Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park, some of the country's leading voices gathered to explore exactly that, the dangerous ideas shaping the creative economy. Let's hear from some of those who were there.
I'm Professor Jane Harris at University of the Arts London, and I'm Director of the Fashion, Textiles and Technology Institute and Director of Research and Innovation at East Bank. There's definitely a very strong sense that we need to rethink our education system and very much working from grassroots up. I think that's readily fundable if you think about how more creative our education system could be, provide greater equity and inclusion, because the results, unfortunately, do lead us into things like prison sector, healthcare, etc. So we could take funding out of those sectors if we could improve education and ensure that fewer people ended up in those sectors. I think the opportunity for bringing digital and practical physical skills together in an equitable way from early years is absolutely huge. You know, tools like AI are only going to be as good as we quite literally feed and inform them. And increasingly, we're seeing students in the teens and 20s wanting more physical and material experiences in their learning education. So I think you have to hear that. It's not all happening on the phone or on TikTok. It's very much a broader sense of experience that I think younger people are wanting. And I think that's part of being human. You can't take the human out of being human. So how do we enable the development of future digital technology to be more relevant to us as humans, and something that we can genuinely sensorially connect to and engage with? And we can only do that if we fuel and fund early years education in a way that we're not currently.
My name's Sol Rogers. I am one of the founders of Magnopus, a creative technology company based out of London and Los Angeles. So there's three dangerous ideas that seem to be coming to the surface. One about the future of education, creative industries, how it needs to fundamentally change to adapt to new technologies and new practices. One around the idea that the immersive industry broadly has been kind of hijacked, and we need to adapt that a little bit to understand that the immersive industries isn't everything. We can go back to just theatre and movies and plays and experiences, and maybe immersive is too big a bracket. And one I'm very passionate about trying out is that the idea of IP ownership and copyright and patents may have had its time, and we may need to move on from those ideas to something new.
Well, my name is Clem. I'm a cultural programmer, curator and producer. I work mainly in the cabaret theatre music space, but I've programmed across the board. So Sol Rogers' idea about abolishing IP was an interesting one, because beyond the 3 minutes fast talk that he gave us, we had a personal discussion about it, and it was interesting to see it unveil and how actually having that idea links to so many concepts and requisites that we take for granted as part of how we build our economy and the creative industry, in terms of property and what belongs to you, and how that an idea emerge and is being produced and replicated and such. So it led to a very, very fascinating discussion. I advocated for boredom, which I think is very paradoxical if you know me personally, because I can't sit still more than 2 seconds. But I do think we are more and more adverse to so-called negative emotions, which have a reason of being like boredom, being failure, that we have absolutely sort of stripped and abolished from the creative process. And AI is also, because we've talked about AI a lot, obviously, it's when we talk about AI, as a sort of simulacra of perfection that also lives on the idea that those things should be abolished. But they are so much part of why we are creative and how creativity emerges, that I think not only abolishing it, but thinking that it's an evil that needs to be cast away is the dangerous part. Promoting boredom, it might seem dangerous, but it's actually dangerous not to have boredom.
We'd love to have you with us for the next edition of Future Talks. Subscribe to our newsletter for updates and join the conversation as we imagine what's next for creativity, innovation, and the future of work.